The Cellcast is recorded in front of a live streaming audience.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Cellcast. Joining me today is a man who, well, he needs to work on his painting. Welcome, Jacob.
It is the way. Why, thank you. Let me introduce our co-host, a man who just needs to get rid of some pesky furballs in order to become a millionaire. Welcome, Drew.
Unfortunately, being a millionaire doesn't go as far nowadays as it used to.
That is so true.
Anyway, trivia for tonight before we get into our normal stuff here. While they were recording audio for the Aristocats, what TV show were Ava Gabor and Pat Buttram both starring in?
I think I saw this earlier, but I don't remember.
You don't remember. Did you ever watch... Well, the answer is Green Acres.
Oh, a show I've never watched.
That would be why you didn't recognize it.
Exactly.
When you get a chance, it's one I suggest. It's a very well-made show.
Got it.
But this was actually guessed by a number of people correctly, including Dallas of Geek Devotions.
Nice.
Artsy Steph. Your cousin Josh.
Nice.
My mom, who said, duh. And Paul J. Powers, who literally posted the theme song on the thing.
Oh, that sounds like Paul J. Powers.
Yeah. He would do that. Kind of killing time for the music to stop. I can play the next thing. Well, actually, I can go on. How are you doing, Jacob?
Man, I'm actually doing very well. I'm actually on vacation. I'm
Lucky.
Well, let me explain. I'm trying to trying to use up my remaining hours.
Mm-hmm.
And ever since my hire date, which I'll be 21 years of the company I've worked for, will expire by about the middle of this month. So I decided to just get out of the way. And plus, it helps me kind of just relax and not have to worry about work and all the stuff that goes on at work. But yeah, I'm doing pretty good. Hopefully, I know I'm gonna go have lunch with my girlfriend, and then I think I'm gonna have lunch with my parents and my girlfriend on Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's a pretty full week.
Interesting.
So, how about you?
I had a decent week.
Yeah.
Had a nice long weekend off.
Mm-hmm.
And saw a movie.
Oh,
we'll talk about later.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And we hung out with our good friends over Geek Devotions.
Yes, we did.
Dallas and Celeste came over all the way over here to get away for Celeste's birthday. Happy birthday, Celeste.
Yes, which was an amazing... Oh, my gosh,
we had a great time.
Have not laughed that much in so long.
But yeah, other than that, it's been a pretty good week.
That's good.
So, Jacob, I have a question for you.
What have you been watching?
Nice. So where do I start? So we watched, to go back to last Sunday, or this previous Sunday, we were, I think it was, what was it, Friday or Sunday? I can't remember which.
Are we talking about this previous weekend? Is it 2 days ago?
Yeah, this previous weekend.
Friday we were hanging out with Dallas and Celeste. So
that's
wasn't
right.
it.
That's right. Because
it had to have been Sunday.
Yeah, because I'm getting events mixed up. So Sunday we're hanging out, and we wound up watching Psych of all shows.
Lovely show. I love this show.
So I've in previous I'd only seen probably snippets and probably half an episode, and not getting what's going on. So we watched 2 episodes.
Yes.
Which was
we watched the pilot and Spelling Bee, where Spelling Bee was misspelled. The title.
Yeah. Overall, great series. I'm gonna add it to my queue on I think it's on Netflix, I think.
It's in a lot of different places. I believe it's actually still free on Peacock.
Ah, okay.
Including the movies.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
There's two movies, I think, and a third one is in development. I think. It's been a while since I looked into it.
So yeah, watch that. I'm planning to watch more. A lot with other stuff I'm watching.
Right.
So, and then yesterday I got off work and and obviously everybody knows Top Gun Maverick came out over the weekend, I believe. And so I went and watched it after work, and oh my gosh, such an amazing cinematic just masterpiece. Oh, a movie that takes so much nostalgia cues from the original and just amps it up, pushes into overdrive.
Right.
And just be like, it's a very well told story. It's one of those movies that makes you laugh, it makes you cry, it pushes you to the edge of your seat and pushes you back into the seat with just how amazingly well done this movie is. And I think Tom Cruise is his top of his game in this movie. As one reviewer said, be like, he's probably one of the last true Hollywood stars out there, which I would somewhat agree with and highly feel like it's debatable.
Yeah.
But overall, I really highly enjoyed this film. I would hopefully go see it again. I would definitely be picking this up when it comes to the physical format. So while I'm off, this is my first day off for my vacation. So my dear friend has been pushing me in a very friendly Christian way to complete Mandalorian season 2.
I would like to point out that he had a chance to do this 2 years ago.
Yes.
When we were met at our friend Chase's house.
Yes.
And we went through the whole season in one night, but somebody decided he was tired.
I was tired.
Not tired enough.
So either...
And now you got to watch through Book of Fett.
I do.
Because you'll need to watch that before Mandalorian season 3.
I'm not surprised. That is on the agenda for this week.
Okay.
So I watched all the way through season...
I mean, the whole thing is Grogu and friends, if we're being honest.
Apparently, it's what I keep hearing. So I finished season 2 of The Mandalorian. Very well done story. Like always, when it comes to these, newer Disney films or Disney TV series that Disney Marvel is pushing out. Lucasfilm was doing. And just incredible. But like, you have a story where season 2 is, if you haven't seen Mandalorian season 2 or 1, go watch it. It's on Disney Plus. Go check it out. Definitely be like, yeah, it's just good storytelling. It's sci-fi Western.
Pretty much.
Yeah. And season 2 is very much about the father-son relationship between who we now know as Grogu and Mando. And it's just very well done. And the ending's just like, oh, okay. I expected it, but I didn't expect that in that manner. And it was like, okay, that's cool.
I like to point out that while no one's really happy with the name Grogu, a lot of people have just come to accept Grogu's name.
Yeah.
Instead of just calling him Baby Yoda, because Baby Yoda really wasn't a name.
Right.
You realize everyone still calls him Mando, even though we know his name?
Yeah. What is his name? I had to ask you.
Din Djarin, I think. I could be wrong because the name just goes like, oh yeah, they did say us his name. It's Mando.
Yeah. So I watched that.
I know him as.
Watch that, and hopefully this week I'll start watching the book of Boba Fett. I always butcher that. Now here's my explanation.
I know.
No.
The funny part with what you just said was you went from Bobo to Bubba, and then you combined them to make Boba. That's what was funny.
So here's my explanation why I've always said Boba Fett. So when I was younger, when I started watching Star Wars, I'm watching Star Wars episode 6, the Return of the Jedi. It's where
Boba Fett dies.
Yes, basically. So
doesn't.
Except he.
That's not a spoiler.
I know it's not a spoiler.
Mando.
Yes, I know this. So watching this movie and where Han Solo, he's hanging over the bars, he's trying to help his friend, and Chewie says something like, "Boba Fett, where?" He turns around, knocks Boba Fett off the barge, and he goes into the Sarlacc pit. And so when I was younger, I heard
Bubba.
I heard Boba Fett, and I've always called it Boba Fett. Until I meet this wonderful gentleman, he's like, "No, it's Boba Fett."
It's because I find it fun to correct your incorrect pronunciations of things.
So yes, that's where it comes from. Boba Fett. I literally have to mentally check myself when I say Boba Fett.
Right.
So yes,
I liked how you actually quoted Han Solo's line correctly.
Yes,
Even though you actually called him Boba Fett as the way Han Solo calls him Boba Fett.
but for
But
some
then
reason,
then immediately after that he says Boba Fett. It's like something both wrong and right about this whole thing.
I don't know. When I was younger, I heard Boba Fett.
I still, when you say Boba Fett, I just imagine
Oh gosh,
the whole armor, but instead of it being, him being nice and slim, he's just got a big pot belly.
and he's wearing a trucker's cap.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Oh my gosh.
And you can't see it underneath the helmet
because
he's got the helmet on, but he's got that long piece of straw coming out.
It's sticking out underneath the helmets.
Exactly. That's just what's on my mind every time you say Bubba Fett. Better than some Bubba things I've heard, but we are not going there tonight.
Oh my gosh. So either or, I am planning to watch the book of Boba. I'm saying it wrong again. Go figure.
Just say Book of Fett.
Book of Fett. I'm gonna watch the Book of Fett.
In fact, I think that's what it's actually called, the Book of Fett, not the Book of Boba Fett.
Either or. Before Drew has a shark or something over here from me saying something wrong.
It doesn't matter.
Either or. So I'm getting my notes done. I'm almost done with Mandalorian season 2. I'm at like the last episode, and it's okay. I get my notes done. So I'm getting my notes done. I turn on. Oh, what was it? I had it. Vamos.
Deedlet. Thank you.
So I turn on Spider-Man, the animated series from the 90s. It's on Disney. Yeah, exactly. It's cheesy as all out. The one episode 2 episodes I watched.
Right.
Yeah, it's good, but it's still like you see all the imperfections in the animation the whole bit, but it's still good. It's still very good. And so then I finish Mandalorian season 2 and be like, okay, it's something to unwind, just have fun with it. And so I plug in Darkwing Duck, because you can't go wrong. With
Let's
Darkwing
get
Duck.
dangerous.
Exactly. And and then
something slipped your mind that we'll have to come back to later.
Yeah, something very long and blonde slipped my mind.
I'm sure your girlfriend loves to know you watch something with a person with long blonde hair in it.
I don't think the correlation's applied yet. Anyways, I think I stuck my foot in my mouth. I feel like I did, but either or. So what have you been watching?
What have I been watching? Well, like you, I saw Top Gear.
Top
Maverick.
Gear?
Top Gear. I'm combining shows with movies. Top Gun.
Thank you.
But now I want to see Top Gear Maverick. But anyway, it's a TV show I combined with it about cars.
Yeah.
Top Gun Maverick.
Yes.
I did watch that. I enjoyed that. This is going to sound strange. I didn't like the ending.
Really?
We'll talk about it after we hit stop.
All right.
After the show.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to spoil anything, but I think the ending would have been more powerful if something else had happened. And we'll talk about that in a minute or later.
Yeah.
But anyway, also, like we said, we watched Psych.
Mm-hmm. Something about an anime you've been watching recently?
Oh, I've been watching 2 different animes.
Yeah, I know.
We'll go with the simple one first. Love Before.
I'm not the only one.
Love After World Domination.
Yeah.
Which I've talked about before. I watched the newest episode. It was the beach episode. And for those who have missed these me talking about this show, it's essentially Power Rangers Romeo and Juliet. Basically. Except I don't know if it's going to have the same tragic ending. And this was the typical beach episode that comes up with that. And it was actually done very well. And then, of course, I've been watching what has to be the biggest breakout hit of this anime season, Spy Family.
Yeah.
You've not been keeping up with that, have you?
No, I have not.
It's on Hulu.
Huh.
So you don't have to wait on me or Chase to get around to it.
Okay.
And I do suggest keep going because the last couple episodes have been good.
Oh, okay.
And I decided I didn't want to wait on the English dubs as often anymore. So I've gone back and actually watched through all of the Japanese subtitles ones too.
Wow.
And I'm actually up to date with Japan right now.
Wow.
And what happened in this last episode involving yours brother, the mother, was quite interesting.
Oh, okay.
It let's just say the oh, what a tangled web we weave when first we practice to deceive. Because there's a lot of deception going along, and it's getting more and more tangled. And I don't mean in a long blonde sort of way. Other than that, I have been watching through X-Men. I think I've talked about that before. I'm just starting season 2.
Oh, X-Men the animated series.
Yeah, X-Men the animated series.
Okay.
Sorry. Been watching Star Trek Strange New Worlds. That's been good so far. And a lot of YouTube videos that I can't remember what they are at the moment. But yeah, that's pretty much what I've been watching. And gaming wise, I have been playing Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. Okay. That's a pretty fun game.
Awesome.
We may have to do the Ratchet and Clank movie just because I'm...
Yeah.
now that because I did play the game that came out at the same time. It's actually done fairly well. So
yeah, I think I saw a review over it or something like that.
Yeah,
I may have good.
I'll probably have to put that on the list at some point.
Alrighty.
But other than that, that's pretty much what I've been watching and playing.
Nice.
So,
The Cellcast News with your host Jacob Heron.
Why, thank you, Jill.
That's the longest of the new sound effects.
All right. So
Deedlit was busy.
Apparently. Thank you, Deedlit. So Disney Plus offered a sneak peek of its upcoming live action adaptation of Pinocchio.
Why is this happening? I thought we were done with these live action adaptations.
Well, at least Tom Hanks is in the film. That's something.
I'm assuming playing Geppetto.
Yes, he's Geppetto.
Because I can't imagine he's doing the high pitched voice of Pinocchio. I mean, he could also...
I'm a real boy now.
He could also do Jiminy Cricket, I'll admit. But I can't see him in any other role. Or maybe he's playing Figaro.
Almost forgot about Figaro.
Or the fish.
Oh,
I don't remember the fish's
I don't remember
name.
the fish's name right now.
Morning Glory or something like that.
Something like that. Which is set Thursday, September 8th. Its release date for the movie star Tom Hanks is Geppetto. The release of the film on Disney Plus leads into the popular D3 Expo, which takes place September 8th and 11th in the Anaheim Convention Center. So yeah, if you are a big fan of either Tom Hanks or classic Disney animated films, might want to give it a shot on Disney Plus.
All right.
That is all I have for in the news right now.
All you got in the news?
Yep.
Well, then we need to get into the spoiler-free review of the Aristocats.
Certified fresh and spoiler-free.
Oh, Gaming Animator 7 says the fish's name is Cleo.
Cleo, thank you.
Can't believe we forgot that. But anyway.
Thank you, man.
Admittedly, she doesn't talk much. She's a fish.
That is true.
And not one that hangs around with Ariel. Anyway.
Yeah, she's not Flounder's girlfriend.
Not yet.
Not yet.
There's the sequel we need to see. Pinocchio X Little Mermaid.
Oh my gosh.
The romance of the century. Cleo and Flounder.
Anyway,
we actually need to be talking about the Aristocats.
Yes. Because everybody wants to be a cat.
all these fish that we're talking about technically would be these cats as food.
Yes.
Boy, that got dark.
Unless you're a mouse for some reason. Well, unless you're the alley cats.
I suspect Roquefort is more of like he's got the same relationship with the cats that the mice in Garfield's house have with Garfield. Just not worth it.
Oh,
And
okay.
probably provide it, and plus you can just tell how helpful he was. So yeah,
That's true.
Anyway,
That is so true. Yeah, my spoiler-free thoughts of tonight's review of the Aristocats. With this movie, I did not see this movie when I was a kid. I think the 70s and 80s films were kind of just like this blank spot in my parents, my mother's like constant like buying the VHS clam shells of the Disney films. We just never watched it. Maybe my dad was like, this looks too whatever. So I wound up watching it. I found it on the cheap on Blu-ray at Game Exchange. And so I picked it up and I was like, this is a pretty good film. This is an interesting little film. And be like, I kind of understand why I never watched it, but for some reason we watched 101 Dalmatians. I guess it was more action filled, I guess.
More on that in the spoiler filled section.
Exactly. I really enjoyed it. I mean, like, yeah, there's some technical bugs in this movie. To what I saw, there again, when you are doing stuff critically for reviews, be like, you notice more things than probably most people do.
Yeah.
So, and be like some of the like, it's got little here and there's a little problems here and there, but overall, it's an enjoyable film. Other than that, yeah, it's definitely worth a watch. So, what about you?
Well, everybody wants to be a cat.
Exactly. They know where it's at.
Exactly. And that was, for the most part, what I knew about this movie prior to watching it. Because the only this one I had not watched, I think, before. So, yeah, I mean, I only knew the song because I think it was on a Disney sing-along songs VHS I had back in the day. For you children at home, a VHS was this black plastic thing that had magnetic tape in it that we recorded stuff on so we could watch it on a VCR. A VCR played VHSs. It's like a DVD player, but louder.
Yeah.
Much louder.
And you have to fidget with
and
it.
Every time you play it, the picture gets worse and worse and worse and worse. Very important to keep your VCRs clean. Be very careful when renting movies. Anyway.
You don't want to pay those fines.
Indeed. So, yeah, I watched that's mostly what I knew, and I'd seen they had some of the other in that music video for the sing-along songs thing. They had some other shots from the movie mixed in there, like the old man dancing, or the lawyer technically, and a couple other things. But literally, I knew virtually nothing besides that one song before watching this movie.
Yeah,
and like you said, this bears some striking similarities to 101 Dalmatians.
Exactly.
With not as good a villain.
True.
More on that later. It's a good film. It's a much calmer film than I think I was expecting.
Yeah.
Almost like a kind of a lazy day kind of movie. Like, this is what you put your kids... You set your kids down to watch so they will calm down.
That is true.
But it's still a fun movie. There's a couple of fun parts in it. It's different from, I think, pretty much every other movie that was around it in the Disney release schedule. But I mean, it worked. It was done very well.
Well, good deal.
Well, that brings us to the end of our spoiler-free section, which means we will get to spoiling this right after the bumpers.
The Cellcast would like to thank the following patrons: Josh Adams, Ashley Cronin Bitter.
To get your name on the show, plus uncut episodes, early access to the Cellcast Plus reviews and special art from Jacob, please donate to us on Patreon.
This podcast is a proud member of Culture Box. Whether you enjoy geeky reviews, comedy, or original fiction, you can open up the Culture Box and find something excellent for your soul. Point your web browser to culturebox.media.
Geek Devotions is a collaboration of devoted geeks that are devoted to letting people know that they are loved. They produce a weekly geek culture-infused devotional, their podcast Com Talk, another podcast where they talk about bad movies called Bottom Shelf, and another podcast where they read books, allegedly. And there are written articles, all designed to encourage and challenge people in the geek community, bridging the gap between their faith and their geekdoms. Find all their content at geekdevotions.com. This show is a part of Pop Americana. For more great shows like this one, please check the link in the episode description. Do you like Star Wars? I don't just mean the original trilogy. Along with that, I mean the prequels, the sequels, the anthologies, the animated shows, and of course, who doesn't like Baby Yoda? Well, if you've been in the fandom for any length of time, you know how toxic the fandom can get. And if you'd like to be able to discuss a galaxy far, far away in a much more positive light, might I suggest searching out The Outer Rim, a Facebook group dedicated to all of Star Wars, and check out their YouTube channel, which you can easily find at Pop Americana, which the podcast you're currently listening to is also a part of. To find that and more, check out the link in the description. And I will point out that Outer Rim is actually doing reviews of Obi-Wan Kenobi. Why did my brain go dead there?
That's when we totally forget to talk about.
We didn't talk about it. We both watched that too. We enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But they are doing reviews of that right now as well. So,
okay.
Yeah. The following is a spoiler-filled review for the movie The Aristocats. Listener discretion is advised. Not that there's actually that much to spoil. Anyway. The Aristocats was directed by Wolfgang Reitherman, who, of course, directed The Jungle Book and Robin Hood.
Yes. Which gets a theme here.
There's going to be a theme here, by the way. It was written by Larry Clemens, Vance Jerry, Ken Anderson, Frank Thomas, Eric Cleworth, Julius Vinson, and Ralph White, and based on the story by Tom McGowan and Tom Rowe, and is actually based on a true story.
That's what I kept hearing.
That happened in France in 1910. A rich aristocrat donated all her money to her cats.
Minus the butler to try to kill said cats.
There is that. So.
And silliness pursues.
Indeed. Getting into the cast, we've got Phil Harris, who played Abraham DeLacy, Giuseppe Casey, Thomas O'Malley, a.k.a. O'Malley. Mm-hmm. He was, of course, Baloo the Bear in The Jungle Book, and not Friar Tuck. Friar Tuck. That's a different guy altogether.
True.
We're having a fun night tonight. Little John. That was the character's name, because they literally recycled Baloo's animations. Mm-hmm. He was Little John in Robin Hood. Ava Gabor was Duchess, and she played Lisa Douglas in Green Acres. Oh. Liz English played Marie, and this is her only acting role. Actually, it's her only role, period.
Really?
Along with Dean Clark, who was Berlioz. It was also his only acting role.
Mm-hmm.
But Gary Dublin, who played Toulouse, played the character Ed in Jaws 2, among many other acting roles.
Really?
Yes. I don't know who Ed in Jaws 2 is.
Me either.
I haven't seen Jaws 2, but it was
I have.
Literally, you know how on IMDb at the top of the cast list says here's what they're most well known for?
Uh-huh.
It went Aristocats, Ed from Jaws 2. It's like, who's Ed? But anyway, Sterling Holloway played Roquefort, and he was Winnie the Pooh in The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear.
Nancy Culp played Frou Frou, the horse, and she was Jane Hathaway in The Beverly Hillbillies, a TV show that was actually in continuity with Green Acres.
Really?
Yeah. People talk about the whole
TV
cinematic
universe,
the whole cinematic television universe thing being new. Green Acres, Petticoat Junction, and Beverly Hillbillies did it 50 years ago now. Get in line.
Okay, then.
Speaking of Green Acres, Pat Buttram was the voice of Napoleon, and he was Mr. Haney in Green Acres. George Lindsay played Lafayette, and in the Andy Griffith Show, he played Goober Pyle.
That's why he sounds
And
familiar.
Yeah, and he was also in Robin Hood
Yes.
as one of the vultures. Nutsy.
Nutsy.
He was Nutsy.
Oh, nutsy.
Scatman Crothers was the voice of Scat Cat, but you will know him, Jacob, as Jazz in the Transformers the movie.
Yes, I was actually watching. I actually recently picked that one up on Blu-ray Ultra HD.
Nice. I've got that too.
Yeah.
Paul Winchell was the voice of the perhaps problematic Chinese cat. Because this is
Oh
the reason
gosh,
why, if you watch this on Disney Plus, which is actually where I watched it, even
Yeah.
though I had it on here, I just didn't feel like opening the case. This is the reason why there's a warning about not depicting cultures correctly.
Right.
It's this character, and he's on screen a grand total of 5 minutes. But he's got like 2 lines in the song "Everybody Wants to Be a Cat." But if you've only heard the CD, you don't know his lines because they edited them out years ago.
Wow.
But it is in the movie. So
wow.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah, it's also be like I've learned recently that it's this movie, Peter Pan, and another film that are no longer on the children's selection.
No longer in the kids version
of Disney Plus,
which is interesting.
Yeah.
But do you know who Paul Winchell has also played?
No.
Tigger in The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh.
Because I'm the only one.
Lord Tim Hudson was the English cat, and the only other role he had was the vulture in Jungle Book.
Oh.
He played one of the Beatles.
Oh, one of the faux Beatles.
The Beetle Vultures.
Run, friend, run!
Yeah.
Wow, it's not so country.
Vito Scotti was the Italian cat, and he played Nazarene, or Nazarini, or I'm saying the name wrong, but it's Italian, because he was in The Godfather.
Oh, okay.
Played that character in The Godfather.
I still need to watch that film, or films.
Yes, I do too. Thurl Ravenscroft was the Russian cat, and he is, of course, most well known as being the voice, the most heard voice in the commercials for Frosted Flakes, Tony the Tiger.
Oh, no wonder I recognize that name now.
But the other place you will recognize his voice is in How the Grinch Stole Christmas, as he's the singer of "You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch." And if you've ever been to Disneyland or Walt Disney World, and you've been on the Haunted Mansion ride, you can hear his voice there too.
Yeah.
And literally everything I know about Thurl Ravenscroft.
And so,
except he's also a vacuum cleaner in The Brave Little Toaster.
Oh, another movie.
We need to do.
Yes.
Anyway, Monica Evans was the voice of Abigail the Goose.
Okay.
And she was Maid Marian in Robin Hood.
Nice. I see a theme here.
Oh, it continues with Carol Shelley, who was Amelia the Goose, who was Lady Cluck in Robin Hood. Yeah, the one they had to yell the line, "Seize the fat one!" Love that line.
Oh my gosh, that football scene is hilarious.
Yes. Bill Thompson was the voice of Uncle Waldo. And I did not realize this when I heard his voice in here. He's Mr. Shmee in Peter Pan.
Really?
It does not sound like him.
No, it doesn't.
But it's him.
Wow.
Charles Lane was... Sorry, I jumped ahead. Hermione Badley was the voice of Madame.
Mm-hmm.
And she played Auntie Shrew in The Secret of Nim.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Charles Lane was the lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
And he played Nosy in the movie Mr. Smith Goes to Washington.
Okay, another good film.
And last but not least, Roddy Maud Roxby was the voice of Edgar, our villain.
Mm.
And the only thing I could find that was known, but I didn't know it, it was one of his, that top row of most well-known things. But I literally went through his entire IMDb list and tried to find something besides the Aristocats that I recognized, and I didn't. He played a character named Rex Rivoli in something called Turnbull's Finest Half Hour.
Huh.
I have no idea what it is. Now, Kingdom Hearts connections. I want you to guess what Kingdom Hearts connections I got.
Bro.
It is not an actor, I will tell you that.
Musician.
It is a musician.
Okay.
Which ones?
Oh, could it be the musicians who are behind Everybody Wants to Be a Cat?
Well, it is that, but you didn't recognize their names, did you?
No, I didn't.
It's the Sherman Brothers.
Of course.
Yes, the Sherman Brothers wrote that song,
Oh, okay.
but they also wrote the Winnie the Pooh theme
Mm-hmm.
for Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, and that is in nearly every Kingdom Hearts game.
Wow.
Also, George Bruns. I said his name
Okay.
wrong. He also wrote music for this.
Okay.
But for Walt Disney World, or Walt Disneyland, I don't remember where the ride was first. For the Pirates of the Caribbean ride,
Yeah.
he wrote Yo Ho, A Pirate's Life for Me.
Really?
Yes. Which is in Kingdom Hearts 2 and Kingdom Hearts 3.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Cool.
Those were the Kingdom Hearts connections. I didn't
Awesome.
bother looking up Smash Brothers. I just had a feeling that no one on this cast had ever even heard of those characters.
No. Not yet, anyway.
Indeed.
All right.
But anyway.
All right. So info and stuff. All right. So going in info and stuff. I'm saying things wrong tonight. Go figure.
We all have.
Yes, we have.
We all have.
All right. So IMDb, it has a 7.1 out of 10. You can watch it on Disney Plus if you're subscribed to Disney Plus. Production, and I will get this one right. Walt Disney Production and distributed by Buena Vista Distribution. Release date was it premiered on December 11th, 1970, and released statewide and assuming the rest of the world on December 24th, 2000. That's a wrong decade. Wrong millennium. 1970. So going into box office, had an estimated budget of $44 million. Its opening weekend was $1.1 million on April 12th, 1987. Okay, that's off.
It's more like 1977.
Yes.
Except it's got to be sooner than that.
Yes.
So was that home video?
No, it's the US. I'm presuming this is probably a later re-release.
That's got to be a later re-release.
It has to be.
So that could be 87.
Yeah, it's probably 87 release.
Because I know Disney was very big in re-releasing their movies in theaters.
Yes,
over and over again.
They were. So its U.S. gross, according to that date, was $37.4 million, and the world gross was similar. I know the movie is grossed tremendously much more over that time. I think it was $191 million. Either or. Let's get into home release. It was released originally on VHS in Europe on July 1st, 1990. That's when VHS started to come into their own, was 1990. A vast majority of them was in 1990. And then in the UK, or the United Kingdom, in 1995. It was first released on VHS in the United States, or in the North America district, on April 24th, 1996, as part of the Masterpiece Collection. In July 2020, Walt Disney Home Release launched the Gold Classic Collection of the Aristocat, was released on VHS for the first time on DVD on April 4th, 2000. The DVD contained, contained the film in 1.33:1 ratio, enhanced to Adobe 2.0 surround sound. The Gold Collection release was quietly discontinued by 2006. A single disc special edition DVD, previously announced as a 2-disc edition. Apparently, they were going to release a 2 discs and went down to a 1 disc on February 5th, 2008. Disney released the film a first time on Blu-ray on April 21st, 2012. The 2-disc special edition Blu-ray DVD combo pack had features of newly digital transfer and bonuses. A single DVD, a single DVD edition was also released, and it was eventually released on Disney Plus, where I watched, and I think you watched it as well.
Yes.
So interesting about sequels. There was going to be Aristocats 2 originally. So it was planned. It was planned to be released in 2008, but it was eventually scrapped. This is a quote from Tom Carter, who apparently worked on the project. To make the Aristocats 2, we tried to distill the essence of the original film into. In the first film, the kitten's nemesis was a misguided butler intent on stealing their fortune. The sequel created a similar dynamic by putting them against a jewel thief on the open seas aboard a luxury cruise ship. To make a long story short, Aristocats 2 was eventually shelved because of the skepticism by the executives that it would make it that it would find it would have triple difficulties finding an audience in a more complex market. It's one of those disappointing things that happens in the film industry from time to time, and that's an interview from Todd Carter. So yes, apparently there was be like, heck, they as I read the entire article, and apparently they had spent so much money and so much time in development that they were given a 4-week window to throw a pitch together, not just one, not just one segment, but all three. Like what do you call those? I'm sorry. Where it's
pitches?
No, it's like the first half, second half, third half.
Acts?
Yeah, acts. Thank you. But like they were sorry, can't my words fail me tonight.
It's fine.
They had to put the 4-act structure of the story together in 4 weeks. So they pulled off the impossible in like 2006. But they got it done. Be like, ultimately the movie was shelved, but there is the treatment they did for it, the pitch for it is actually, I think it's on Vizio or something, not Vizio, but it's available online. It's available on. So if you want to go check out what if Aristocats 2, you can go check it out. It's interesting. It's all voice and everything. And I think Jim Cummings is in it.
That would make sense.
Yeah,
he was an easy actor for them to get a hold of.
True, and this was 2006, 2008. So yeah, so we could have gotten an Aristocats 2,
and it probably would have been as bad as Cinderella 2.
Probably.
I've heard Cinderella 3 is actually pretty
decent,
3. I've not seen it.
Yeah, 2 was a drudge to go through.
One
3,
day we will have to be forced.
We will.
To go through.
Yes, we will.
Those.
But apparently they were given like so much.
We got to do Cinderella 1 first.
They were given so much like independent freedom to do what they want with the story. So they were able to like expand and just do different things, and it sounded like a really interesting film, unlike a lot of the direct-to-video stuff that came out. But either or, so yeah, we will most likely never get an Aristocats 2. So that's all I have for info and stuff.
All right, getting into the summary. In 1910, Mother Cat Duchess and her 3 kittens, Berlioz, Marie, and Toulouse, live in Paris with retired opera diva Madame Adelaide Bonfamille, my apologies, and her English butler Edgar. The cats are pampered pets that live a luxurious lifestyle and are very cultured in art and music like their owner. One day, while preparing her will with lawyer George Hautcourt, either way, the lawyer, Madame declares that her vast fortune will be left to her cats, then revert to Edgar once they all pass away. Edgar overhears this through a speaking tube, and after erroneously calculating that he will die before he can inherit plots to eliminate the cats. Okay, now first off, I have a problem with his math.
Okay.
In the movie. This is not big enough for me to bring up later, because it's kind of funny. But he does make the assumption that all cats have 9 lives. Actually have 9 lives.
Wow.
And he figures that they will each live 20 years for each life. Of course, they're all going to die by that calculation. He's going to die before they do that calculation, but you still did it wrong.
True.
Anyway. And there's other logistical things he could have done better than this, but I don't like the idea of talking about murdering cats, so let's move on. He sedates them by putting sleeping pills in a dish of cream, then drives them out on his motorcycle out to the countryside in a basket. There he is ambushed by 2 hounds named Napoleon and Lafayette, losing his hat, sidecar, umbrella, shoes, and the basket before escaping. The cats are left stranded in the countryside, while Madame Adelaide, Roquefort the mouse, and Frou Frou the horse discover their absence. In the morning, Duchess meets an alley cat named Thomas O'Malley, who offers to guide her and the kittens to Paris. The group briefly hitchhikes in a milk truck before being chased out by the driver. Later, after crossing a railroad trestle, the cats narrowly avoid an oncoming train, and Marie falls into the river. O'Malley immediately dives in and rescues her, and is himself rescued by Amelia and Abigail Gabble, 2 British geese on holiday. The geese lead the cats to the outskirts of Paris, then depart to deal with their inebriated Uncle Waldo. Meanwhile, Edgar returns to the countryside to retrieve his possessions, the only evidence that can incriminate him from Napoleon and Lafayette, and after some difficulty, ultimately succeeds. Traveling across the rooftops of the city, the cats meet up with O'Malley's friend Scat Cat and his musicians, who perform the song Everybody Wants to Be a Cat. After the band has departed, O'Malley and Duchess converse on a nearby rooftop while the kittens listen at a windowsill. Duchess's loyalty to Madame prompts her to decline O'Malley's marriage proposal. The next day, Duchess and the kittens return to Madame's mansion. Edgar finds them before Madame does and places them in a sack, and deciding to ship them to Timbuktu. By the way, he puts that sack in a trunk. I just want to put that out there.
Yeah, he puts it in a trunk.
Because this left that out.
Yeah.
Roquefort catches up with O'Malley at Duchess's instruction, and O'Malley returns to the mansion, sending Roquefort to find Scat Cat and his gang. Though he struggles to explain the situation to the Alley Cats, Roquefort successfully brings them to O'Malley's aid. O'Malley, the Alley Cats, and Frou Frou fight Edgar, while Roquefort frees Duchess and the kittens. At the end of the fight, Edgar is locked in his own packing case and sent to Timbuktu himself, never to be seen again. The Aristocats return to Madame Adelaide, who, ignorant of the real reason for Edgar's departure, rewrites her will to exclude him. After adopting O'Malley into the family, Madame establishes a charity foundation, housing Paris's stray cats in the mansion. Scat Cat and his gang are the first to move in and reprise their song so loudly that the 2 hound dogs can hear it out in the countryside. Yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah.
Getting into the trivia for this, as I stated at the beginning, Ava Gabor and Pat Buttram were both starring together in the TV series Green Acres, 1965, while recording voices for this animated film. The Aristocats was inspired by the true story of a Parisian family of cats circa 1910 that inherited a fabulous fortune. This is the last animated feature to be approved by Walt Disney and the studio's first animated feature to be entirely completed after his death. However, it should be noted that Disney had spent some time working on the story of The Rescuers, 1977, released 7 years later, around the time The Jungle Book, 1967, entered production. The character of Scat Cat was designed to be voiced by Louis Armstrong. The character's look was modeled after Armstrong, the way he played his trumpet, his roly-poly physique, right down to the prominent gap between his teeth. However, Armstrong was unable to record a single line due to illness. His replacement, Scatman Carruthers, was directed to pretend you're Satchmo.
Really?
Yeah. The Sherman Brothers talked Maurice Chevalier out of retirement to sing the title song. It was his last work before his death in 1972. The characters of Toulouse and Berlioz are named after 2 famous French artists, painter and illustrator Henri de Toulouse-Lautrec and composer Hector Berlioz. The dogs, Napoleon and Lafayette, are both named after famous French generals, Napoleon Bonaparte and Marquis de Lafayette. Napoleon was the Emperor of France who conquered much of Europe. Lafayette was a nobleman who helped the Americans during the American Revolution. This was originally intended as a 2-part live-action installment of the TV series The Magical World of Disney in 1954.
Really?
Yeah, that would have been an entirely different thing.
That would have been.
O'Malley's appearance was actually based on that of his voice actor, Phil Harris. Originally, there was, like you said, there was meant to be a direct-to-video sequel called Aristocats 2. It was intended for a 2007 release, but production was canceled in 2006 after John Lasseter became head of animation at both Disney and Pixar. The lines in Everybody Wants to Be a Cat, sung by Chinese Cat, Paul Winchell, were later deemed politically incorrect and removed from the soundtracks. However, they remain in the song as featured in the home releases. Thurl Ravenscroft, the voice of Russian Cat, did singing voices on several Disneyland attractions, such as Pirates of the Caribbean, Haunted Mansion, and the Enchanted Tiki Room. For cultural reasons, the Italian dubbing of the film changes Thomas O'Malley's name and his Irish origin to Romeo el Mejor der Colalesso, Roman dialect for the best cat of the Colosseum. An Italian cat from Rome. He was an Italian cat from Rome speaking with a strong Roman accent. The reason for this change is that alley cats were well known for frequenting the Colosseum at the time.
Really? Huh.
Last but not least, this was Walt Disney Animation Studios' 20th feature film and the first one of the 1970s. Which brings us to our review. Jacob, what is your first like?
My first like of this film is O'Malley's journey. Like he's a stray cat. He's a street cat. He knows what he's doing, and very much in for himself. He's one of these very be like, oh, I do everything for myself. And especially when he runs into Duchess, who he thinks is alone, and it's like trying to woo her and trying to be the slick cat, and then he
knows where it's at.
And I absolutely love his arc because he goes from a guy that is so much be like, I want to do this thing and just be done with it. To a point where be like, there's kittens. Okay, let's play this a little different. And then slowly over time, he starts becoming more of this, like, kind of a father figure to these kids. And he's abandoned his I don't want to say wayward ways of just be like his own personal desires kind of thing, and starts becoming more of a not civilized but more responsible cat.
Yes.
And I enjoy that to a point where he's adopted into the family, and one can only assume that in the wonderful world of Disney animated anthropomorphic animals that him and Duchess get married, I presume.
Well, I mean, Madame does talk about their kittens.
Yeah, their kittens. True. They are kittens.
Apparently, Duchess can still have kittens.
Apparently.
I'm going to word that.
Yeah.
She has not been spayed.
Apparently not. But yeah, I really love O'Malley's I just really love his character progression. Really love his progression to just being from this alley cat who's all about himself to this, smooth talking, kind of character. Just be like, once the, live in the fast lane and just do, everything just quick and just be done with it. And that kind of life, to being this, be like, oh, I really care about these kids. I really care about this girl. And, to just being the hero of the day in a way. But yeah, that's what I really, my first like is O'Malley. And plus he's a cool cat. I don't think I would want to adopt him, but be like, he's a cool cat.
You do what's right for your family of cats.
That is true. I know Drew would probably adopt him.
Except I don't want to pay pet tax, and except it may have been cheaper in Paris 1910, but
that is true.
There were other problems coming.
That is true.
Not getting into that.
No. First World War, that kind of thing.
Second World War. Although the cats would be dead by then.
Yeah, that's true. Kind of a
That got-
bombing thing.
Once again, that got dark.
Yeah, really dark.
Anyway, my first like the song "Everybody Wants to Be a Cat." Because this is just such a catchy
It is. I agree.
song. And I'm not going to say it's true, but kind of is. It's a fun song. It's got great visuals. The fact that the pampered pets are able to jump in and hang with these guys and actually move with the music and even participate, because you've got Berlioz actually jumping in and playing piano with Scat Cat, which was fun. The whole thing was just that whole song is a reason it comes back at the end. It's because it's the best song in the movie. It's not that the other songs are bad, mind you. It's just this is the best one. It's the reason why everyone knows this one and not any of the other songs. Which the only one off the top of my head I can think of is that arpeggio song. But yeah, this is "Everybody Wants to Be a Cat" is the best song in the film in my opinion, and it's enjoyable, and I enjoyed the sequence.
I agree.
Yeah.
I would definitely follow up. Yes, my number 2 is definitely "Everybody Wants to Be a Cat" sequence, because it's the use of color, the use of lighting, the techno disco ball kind of, because it is the 70s. It is the dawn of the 70s.
Yes.
And just the use of color, the energy of the animation. The song itself is so incredibly catchy that it'd be like it's stuck in your head like all the time. And it's an enjoyable scene. It's very fun, and it's just one of these rompous comedy bits that, like, yeah, it does have the problem with be like the cultural thing, but that was the 70s.
Yeah,
that was the 70s. And but like, yeah, we've as a culture, we've kind of be like, hey, let's be respectful of other cultures. But overall, be like, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was a really well done scene. The song is catchy, and I'd be like, I'm not wanting to repeat you, but it's just the jazz, man. It's just got such an amazing amazing songs, an amazing song. Like, I'm applying it's another song.
Yeah.
Because there is the reprise of it at the end. And yeah, I just thoroughly enjoy it. It's a great song and a great scene.
So before we move on, I do want to touch on one thing about Chinese Cat.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't think the intention was to make fun of Chinese people.
No, I don't think it was
any
either.
More than Russian Cat was making fun of Russian people.
Yeah, I agree.
English Cat was making fun of English people, or Scat Cat was making fun of jazz players.
Yeah, agreed.
I think that was actually an attempt to actually be inclusive.
Yeah.
The problem is they went too far in the not the mockery, but the parody of the culture.
Yeah, agreed.
And at least they did at least pick a Siamese cat, which for that role, which makes sense.
Yes.
But this is the same problem they had with Lady and the Tramp, with those Siamese cats.
Yeah.
In fact, I wonder to some degree if this Siamese cat was a throwback to those Siamese cats.
If
that doesn't mean that it was right to do so. Don't get me wrong.
Agreed.
But I don't think that was I don't think there was malicious intent.
No, there was no malicious intent behind it. Other Disney films, there might be.
There may be some more. I mean, especially when we get to Peter Pan, there's some issues there.
Yeah.
But in this case, I think that this is just a unfortunate overstep on the part of the animators.
And I do like
songwriters.
I do like your point of be like, it's trying to be inclusive of different cultures and, recognizing different cultures, but they
overstepped their bounds.
Overstepped and they overdid it.
Exactly. So you already said your second was that one? Okay. My second is the characters of Napoleon and Lafayette.
Oh my gosh. I think we're in step on this one.
We might be.
Maybe.
Pat Buttram and George Lindsay are gems of
Agreed.
Classic country people.
Yes.
And they do an amazing job here. And they have, I think, some of the best lines in the film. And of course, they're the ones who actually take out Edgar throughout most of the film, both times. but that whole exchange there where he's trying to get the baskets
In the hat.
and the hat and everything, and while they're sleeping, and they wake up enough to make a remark here or there. It's like, okay, this is great.
Mm-hmm.
I love this in many ways, but and the fact that they get the last lines in the movie and they get the fourth wall break.
Yes.
That's all it was
Yeah.
the fourth wall break.
Yes,
I love how the summary tried to say, oh yeah, the music was so loud it can be heard in the Parisian countryside. No, it wasn't. That was just, okay, we're at the end of the movie. We're going to have some fun. We're going to let everybody dance. This is like the ending of Despicable Me 1, where Goober was dancing on the moon. It's just because it's something he could hear the music.
Yeah.
It's just that's what you do. It's a dance party. This is the beginning of the dance party meme that Shrek is claimed to have started.
Yeah.
No, it started with the Aristocats.
Agreed.
That is my claim.
All right.
But yeah, Napoleon and Lafayette are just they're the best. I like to say they're the best dogs in the movie, but they're the only dogs in the movie.
That is true.
But they are some of the I think some of the better Disney dogs out there besides the Dalmatians themselves. So,
True.
And you have a quantity versus quality problem in that movie with dogs.
Mm.
But c'est la vie.
Well, I think John Travolta did a very good job as a dog. He played Bolt in Bolt.
We will get to that. I
Yes.
forgot about that.
Yes.
Bolt is, you have to realize, once you get to the early Disney 3D
Mhm.
stuff, that's the stuff that just goes,
Yeah.
those movies existed. I know they existed. You bring it up, it's like, oh yeah, I remember this movie.
Meet the Robertsons.
Meet the Robinsons, yeah, but there's a part of me that's always going to look at that in my mind it goes from, I'm not kidding, Emperor's New Groove.
Mm-hmm.
Except I think Lilo and Stitch was after Emperor's New Groove.
No, it's after.
Lilo and Stitch was after?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Lilo and Stitch.
Mhm.
These around the same time in
Yeah.
my head. It goes from Lilo and Stitch to Tangled, and there's nothing in between
Oh.
in my mind.
Yes.
Despite the fact I know you've got Bolt, you've got Princess and the Frog, you've got Meet the Robinsons, you've got the movie that nearly killed 2D animation in Disney,
Which would
Home
be
on the Range.
Oh my gosh! Yes.
The last time they tried
Yes.
it before they
Princess
first said they were going to be just making 3D movies,
Mhm.
but then came back to 2D for
Princess and the Frog.
Princess and the Frog and Winnie the Pooh.
Uh-huh.
I forget that Winnie the Pooh movie exists.
Yeah. Apparently, it flopped beyond belief.
Well, when you come out the same year as Tangled,
Well, no, Tangled came out, I think, the next year, I believe.
it came out like really close to some other big movie
Yeah.
Disney put out,
Mm.
and it was within Disney's ability to not do that.
I gotcha,
but they didn't. I don't remember what movie it was. I was thinking it was Tangled because Tangled is awesome. But beside the point. Shut up, Retro.
Hi, Retro.
What were we talking about? Napoleon and Lafayette. That's
Yes.
what we were talking about. Not the French generals, but yeah, those two characters are my favorite ones in this film. Well, what's your next one, which I'm going to guess Napoleon and Lafayette?
Napoleon Lafayette. The encounter they have with Edgar when Edgar is trying to dispose of the cats, and then they run into the two dogs, which is like absolutely hilarious. It's
Yes.
No, I'm the leader. I'm the
leader, and it's we're gonna attack we're gonna go when I say go.
Now go.
Okay, go.
And just feel like that scene is absolutely hilarious. Where they're literally chasing him underneath the water and back over the little bridge is absolutely hysterical. It's done so well
to the point where you forget that the cats just fell out of the sidecar not 10 minutes ago. You forget that the whole thing is you're watching Edgar get chased by these dogs, and it's funny and hilarious, and you forget that the cats might be drowning.
Yeah, might just maybe,
we don't know. Last time we saw them, they were still under sleeping pills.
Yeah,
they may not survive.
Yeah, I'll talk on that in our dislikes, but just like, and then you get the reprieve of that scene where the dogs are now living in luxury with their wrecked sidecar and their umbrella.
Oh, please. Those dogs have been living in luxury this entire time.
That is so
'Cause
true.
all they need
for
is,
country
is
dogs.
cars to chase
And tires to
and
bite.
tires to bite. That's all they want. Since they have been in doggy heaven since the invention of the automobile.
Which would have been about that
Around that time.
So yeah, it's very well done. It's definitely the Edgar is trying to find the evidence, which I'm still trying to figure out. Why would you go back and try to find the evidence? It's all right. No one knows you did anything yet. But I understanding that, but his return to
Because a guilty criminal
that
always
is true. That is so
returns to
true.
the scene
In
of
the
the crime.
crime.
You're the one who listens to the True Crime podcast.
That is so
you should
true.
know this.
Yes, I know. But then I'm thinking it's like, yeah, I should.
Logically, they shouldn't.
Yeah, logically you shouldn't, but you do.
Logic is rarely involved.
That is so much true. It's the criminals are most criminals. Well, most criminals do go back to the scene of crime and relive their deeds.
Yeah.
But yeah, I should have thought about it. Didn't think about that. But thank you. I think my girlfriend's probably slapping herself in the head. It's like, you really didn't think about that, Jacob. But either or. So they when he returns to go get the evidence, or he's not implemented in the crime, where he runs into them again and hijinks ensues, and it's hilarious. Oh my gosh, I absolutely love that scene. I love those characters, and the reason I said life of luxury, now they have hats, now they have umbrellas, and they have a sidecar to sleep in and a basket. I forget the
They have the basket.
Mm-hmm.
Lafayette gets to sit in sleep in the basket.
Right.
While Napoleon's in the sidecar.
Exactly.
That farmer's got to be really confused when he goes out into the field and sees the dogs asleep in a basket in a motorcycle sidecar.
Yeah. Yes. So that is my number 3.
All right, my last teaching a cat how to swim.
Oh gosh. Oh no, you're doing it wrong.
The thing is, you bring these geese in, and my first thought is, oh, this is gonna be stupid. Because part of me didn't like the characters as soon as I saw the geese.
Yeah.
I'll admit that.
Oh, agreed.
But then it's like, oh, that's something you don't see every day, a cat learning how to swim. Let's give him a hand. It's like, no, get him to shore, but still, I want to see how you do this. How are you going to try and teach the cat how to swim? That whole sequence is funny, and it's like, it shouldn't be. Because it feels like this is a stupid idea that someone came up with as a gag. But yet, I thought it was funny. Wow. That whole sequence was funny. And you could, because I think we've all been there where some blessed soul or two are just trying to help, but they don't realize they're being more of a hindrance than help.
Yeah, been there.
We've all been there.
Yes, we've all been there.
We all try not to be those people.
Yeah.
But sometimes we are those people. And
agreed.
It was interesting to see that in here and see how it messed up Thomas O'Malley's day.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, that's the end of my likes.
It's like, man, you're like, yeah, I'm just a wet cat, and those geese didn't help anything at all.
Oh,
you want me a drowned cat.
If this wasn't a Disney movie, as soon as that cat got to shore,
oh my god,
those would be dead geese.
That would be dinner.
Yes, they would be cat food. Anyway, let's get into our dislikes.
All right,
what's yours first one?
Oh, going back to Edgar and Lafayette. So this is based in France, right?
Yes. Right outside of Paris.
Apparently. Right outside of Paris. So why do you have 2 country dogs in Paris? And
why are there so many British people in this movie?
Exactly.
As far as I can tell, the only French characters are the cats themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Or Duchess and her kittens,
mm-hmm.
the horse, the mouse, and Madame, and the lawyer.
Yeah,
everybody else is British except for the stereotypical cats.
Yeah.
What the heck happened?
I'm thinking like O'Malley is like
He's Irish.
he's an Irish cat.
Yes.
But he talks like he's from New York.
Because it's Phil Harris and he only has one voice. Bless his heart. Phil Harris only ever had one voice.
That is
We're
true.
just lucky he's not singing Bare Necessities.
Bum, bum, bum.
Except his title song is kind of Bare Necessities.
It is, in a way.
Except he's singing about himself instead of what he's looking for.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's just I found that I understand. Like it's a movie and you're not trying to be completely accurate.
I get it.
I enjoy it, but at the same time, I'm like, why are there American country dogs here?
You know, you want another reason?
Because you hired really good comedians to be your characters.
I need to look at the exact order because I don't remember the order of when they came out. But somewhere between the next movie and the next 3 movies, Robin Hood came out.
Yes.
Robin Hood was Americans, Southerners in England.
And you see that trend throughout the entire 70s.
Yes. They do this a lot.
Rescuers is the exact same thing. And
Rescuers, it makes sense.
That is true. They are in Louisiana.
They are in Louisiana, and Ava Gabor's character is from
France.
Well, not France, but in that one, it's whatever she's from.
It's been a while since we watched that movie.
It's been a while, and I don't remember because all I hear is, Oliver, I don't want to go and live in the farm. I want to live in the city.
But either or, I think it's more
something about gypsies. But anyway,
gypsies.
Yes, that is not that they were called gypsies in Green Acres. I am not saying anything bad.
Believe me, I've met the Roma people. Be like, yeah, they call themselves gypsies.
Yeah, which is fine.
Yeah, but
nothing by it.
Nothing by it,
other than a description of the people.
Exactly. But I just found that very peculiar. Be like, it wasn't even part of my likes originally, and so we started talking about it. I was like, wait. Be like, this is very peculiar, but it's still good. It's just one of those.
It's Disney of the era.
It's Disney of the era, and they're using their top-notch actors of voice actors at the time.
They're pulling from the same pool they've been pulling from for years, and it's the Green Acres people, which is how they are that little area. Plus, who happens to be near Disney Animation Studios this week?
Yeah,
they didn't go out and get people specifically, except for the Sherman Brothers apparently annoying this old man who I didn't know his name to sing their theme song right before he died.
But yeah, that's my first dislike. What's yours?
My first dislike is that this story is dull to some degree. There's some excitement to it. Do not get me wrong, but there is not much that happens. If you think about it, there's not much that actually happens in this movie. I mean, they go from walking the scene there with the geese to all of a sudden, boom, they're in Paris. It's like, dude, that had to be 20 miles. And those are cat miles. So that's 100 miles in cat miles. That was a long stinking distance because he had to take them out in the motorcycle, and they walked to Paris along the train track, admittedly. But that I don't know exactly how far out of town they are, but it was far enough out of town you couldn't see the city from where they were.
Got it.
So that's a pretty far distance, and nothing happened after they met with the geese.
Yeah. Nothing
until they got to town and they got rid of the geese.
And
admittedly, Thomas is from Paris.
Yeah,
or he's got a pad in Paris, and he was out there not because he got took out there, but for his own volition. So maybe it's really not that far.
Yeah,
but we also don't know where he was coming from.
True,
he could have been coming from Brussels, for all we know.
Who knows?
Or Rome, apparently. He was the top cat in the Colosseum, according to the Italians' dub of the film. But
oh my gosh,
it's the thing. It's like I can tell you the plot of this very quickly. Cats are inheriting money. Butler hates it. Butler puts cats to sleep. They go out. He takes them out to the middle of nowhere doesn't realize he's let them loose, but has let them loose.
Mhm.
He gets all his stuff attacked by dogs
Mhm.
and loses everything but his motorcycle.
Yeah.
Goes back to town. No one in town can find the cats because the cats aren't there. And bless his heart, Roquefort can't get out of that house. And then they meet up with O'Malley. O'Malley puts them on a milk truck, is going to let them get back there himself, but at the last minute has to save. I know I said Emily. That is not that cat's name. Marie. From because she fell off and gets her there. So of course he's now going with them too. And they get kicked off because, well, milk trucks don't like cats for obvious reasons. And then they're walking along a train track trying to get back, but train's coming. Who didn't see that happening? And then Marie again falls, and O'Malley has to go save her. And O'Malley does save her, but now he can't. He's having to learn how to swim from two geese.
Mm-hmm.
And then, boom, they're in Paris. And boom, they're at his pad. And guess who's at his pad? A bunch of other alley cats who are going to sing a hip song that's going to get stuck in your head for the next couple days.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're gonna somewhere in all this, apparently Duchess has fallen in love with O'Malley, and O'Malley has fallen in love with Duchess.
Mm-hmm.
I never saw it, but more on that later. They get back, and oh no, Edgar has, because the thing is, the fact that Edgar went back out to the thing and then came back empty-handed affects the plot in no way whatsoever.
Okay.
Because he's back there, he catches the cats, he's going to send them to Timbuktu, but Roquefort finally is able to do his stinking job and goes and gets Scat Cat so he can get O'Malley, and they can help O'Malley help the cats take back over. And Madame is none the wiser about anything that happened in the film, except that, now she's gonna have instead of just taking care of her own cats, she's gonna take care of all of Paris's cats, and now O'Malley is living with them. That's not much of a story.
No, it's not.
There's not many exciting pieces in the story. I mean, you've got the fights with Edgar at the end.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Lafayette and Napoleon biting the crap out of Edgar both times. And you've got, a couple of, pardon the pun, hair-raising excitement with Marie continually falling off of things. Bless her heart.
The trope of the damsel
in distress, yes. And you've got a couple of fun things here and there, but it's like they introduce segments only to get rid of those segments like 5 seconds later.
Yeah.
Like how quickly they got rid of the geese after the geese showed up.
Yeah, agreed.
It's like
it's a movie set of segments.
Yeah. It's not bad. Do not get me wrong, but it's like in general, the story is meh.
Yeah.
They could have done a little bit more with it. They could have had more plot to it. There's virtually no plot. It's a small, simple plot, which is not bad. Don't get me wrong.
It's not.
But I am looking at this knowing we had Jungle Book before it, and Robin Hood after it. All three of these films were directed by the same man. This is, of the three, this is the weakest film, in my opinion.
All right.
So yeah, it's just meh.
Okay. So my second dislike is kind of I wanted to fit my third one in there, but I couldn't fit this one little thing. It was just burrowing itself in the back of my head. All right. So Edgar douses these cats with sleeping pills.
Yes.
Puts the entire bottle into this water, mixes it with everything else. Those should be some very comatose cats. I'm talking, they don't come out of this coma. And mouse. The mouse should be,
the mouse should be dead.
The mouse should be dead. The cats, well,
maybe they're asleep.
Be like, what is it? It's not Mary, but Marie. I was close. Marie should survive it. The kittens, maybe not.
Well, Duchess is the main cat.
Thank
Marie
you. Duchess
is the kitten.
Duchess should be okay. The kittens, maybe not so much.
Yeah,
I thought that was I was like, okay, this is very peculiar.
Well, I mean, it's not like he pours the whole bottle in there. He literally puts
does.
No, it's like one pill.
No, he dumps the entire thing in there.
I'll have to go back and look, but I could have sworn he put one pill in the cream and then let it dissolve and then poured it in each of the bowls. And if that's not what he did, that's what he should have done.
Yeah. Oh, agreed.
I mean, by all technical accounts, the man should just, grow up.
Yeah, agreed.
And not worry about the fact that and just remember that his mistress can do whatever the crap she wants with her money.
Exactly.
And you have no say. And besides that, you really want that money. There's other things you can do to get it. More on that in my next dislike.
Right. So my primary second dislike is, oh wow. Oh yeah, that's right. Hold on. I got sidetracked and I was like, wait, what was my second dislike? Oh yeah. About 10 years earlier, roughly a decade earlier, Disney did the exact same story except with dogs.
Remember what you said earlier about us being in step?
Yeah.
This is continuing.
This is continuing. So I kept thinking about it. I was like, I'm watching this film and be like, this is 101 Dalmatians. So I literally had to check when 101 Dalmatians came out, which was 1961. So in 1970, they literally repeat the exact same story beats verbatim with little changes here and there to make it more of an original story. But you're taking the basic guts of 101 Dalmatians, changing a few things out, making them cats, and bada bing, bada boom. It's the exact same story beats.
Okay. I want to jump in here, but I want to make sure you've gotten everything out of your system about this.
Yes.
Okay. Edgar is not Cruella de Vil.
Oh, agreed.
That is my main problem with Edgar.
I agree.
Because Cruella de Vil in that original movie, now it's been a while since I've seen it.
Yeah.
We need to put 101
Oh, I completely
Dalmatians
agree
on the
with you on
list.
that.
But Cruella de Vil in from what I remember from
the
last time I saw it when I was a kid, is a much more intelligent villain than Edgar is.
And a much darker villain.
Yes.
Edgar is kind of like...
Edgar is an idiot. It's the problem. He is the idiot butler.
Okay.
Because here's the thing. I want to point out everything wrong with Edgar's plan. Admittedly, Edgar did come up with it at the last minute. Because he doesn't like the idea that the pampered pets are going to be getting all this money when he's been taking care of them.
Yes.
First thing. Don't kill or get rid of the cats until after Madame is dead. Then you find a way to get rid of the cats.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be your fault because this is, for one thing, this is 1910 Paris.
Yes.
I don't believe that animal abuse laws are in effect. I could be wrong in France because I don't know French law.
Yeah.
But if animal abuse things are not a thing at that time, the only thing he could really get in trouble with is that will in which he's supposed to take care of the pets, and he technically doesn't, but who really knows? Because all he has to do is, like you said, pour the entire sedative stuff in the milk. They don't have forensics at this time.
True.
You want to know why I know this? Because this was how Sherlock Holmes was considered advanced for his time, because it's part science fiction.
Yeah.
Sherlock Holmes is, and he's doing forensics work.
Yeah.
That's how I know they weren't doing forensics work at this time.
Yeah.
He could have got away with all that money scot-free.
Yeah.
And he didn't because he's an idiot. That's problem one with Edgar. Problem two with Edgar, as a villain, he's a bad villain because his entire motivation is just, I want the money.
Yeah.
You look at someone like Cruella de Vil, which is going to do harm to animals. She's got a better goal for herself because she actually has ambition.
Yeah.
She's fashion focused. She wants a fur coat made out of puppy fur because puppy fur would be soft and comfortable. It would be getting a hold of that kind of fur would be fashionable. Well, not fashionable, but it'd give a artistic statement.
Yes.
It makes, while I hate the idea of skinning 99 puppies alive. Or I would assume they would actually kill them first. But killing 99 puppies so you can skin them and put them in a fur coat, I don't like this idea. Yeah. I want to be very clear. She was on course to take care of that without it being an issue because she was intelligent about how she was going off of this. And if it weren't for the fact that those were actually intelligent dogs and not, the idiots we tend to think of animals as being.
Right.
The fact that they were actually almost of human intelligence animals
Mhm.
is what screwed her over.
Yeah.
Pardon the language. The cats in this film did not have to be as smart as the dogs in 101 Dalmatians to
True.
defeat their villain,
That is true.
because the villain was an idiot.
And
the
literally fumbled himself.
Right. And the problem with an idiot villain is it doesn't help your heroes,
True.
because your hero is only as good as the villain they have to overcome. And
Very
Edgar
true.
is an idiot.
Agreed.
He's a stupid villain. And the cats were fine from the moment they got up that first morning, even through them being sedated and thrown out to fend for themselves, which is horrible, by the way. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, don't throw your pets out.
Yeah. But the thing is, those cats didn't have to be intelligent about how they went about things. They didn't have to play anything. The only time they could have done better was when they went in, because no one believed Toulouse that, was it Toulouse? Yeah, Toulouse, because he's the artist.
Yeah.
No one believed Toulouse that Edgar was the one who did everything. That is the only thing that helped Edgar at all. And otherwise, Duchess and those 3 kittens would have attacked him as soon as he came in the room.
True.
Or would have gone to see Madame first.
Yeah, because that makes
Madame doesn't even know that. And the cats, they can climb buildings. They know where she hangs out. They could have gone straight to her room in that mansion instead of going in through the front door.
Oh, I agree.
If they had just realized that Edgar was the issue, or they could have been careful around Edgar. And the reason they're not is because Edgar was not being a villain for most of this film. And he's supposed to be the villain. He's a poor villain, and that's why the cats don't get to be good heroes. O'Malley, bless his heart, does the most work of any cat in the film. And I don't feel like he had to do that much. He didn't have to sacrifice much to take out Edgar.
That's true.
Or to help the cats.
Yeah. But even going to the far as when I think it's Toulouse, be like he's the one who sees Edgar, but he's still in his
he's
state.
The only one who actually understood what happened, but nobody believes him.
I think there's a portion that they do partially believe him, but when they get back to Madame's chateau or her place, they're instantly be like, "Oh, Edgar, we got to get his attention." I'm like, he's the villain.
Roquefort is saying, "Go listen to the mouse you didn't eat."
Yeah, exactly.
And here's a wild idea: why would the cat door be locked? Hey, why would the cat door be locked?
Because he believes they're dead. Why in the world?
Why would Madame allow that cat door to be locked if the cats have disappeared?
Exactly. She has
she would have had to put him under orders to have that cat door unlocked. So as soon as those cats
that makes
back,
no sense.
They could get in that thing. Why was the cat door locked? I know why Edgar would have locked it, because Edgar hated. That's the thing. Did he really hate the cats before he found out?
I don't think he did.
They were they were going to get the money.
Yeah. No.
With their will. It's like he didn't have time to come up with a plan, and his plan that he did come up with was stupid. This is as stupid as the
it's a poorly executed.
It's as stupid as the villain in Rescuers. That Medusa.
Oh yeah, Medusa. Yeah,
it's as stupid as that. Because Medusa had time to plan, and she did it poorly.
Yeah.
Edgar, admittedly, didn't have time to plan all this out, but at the same time, I don't know if I will say he, unlike Medusa, he wasn't planned to be a Cruella analog.
Yeah,
but at the same time, it's like he wasn't an interesting enough villain for me to even be happy that he got locked in the trunk at the end.
Yeah, it was
like,
more like,
that's ironic.
Yeah, so kind of going there.
Yeah, Edgar is not Cruella the villain. He's not that good a villain.
I agree. Kind of like you said, more like ranking villains. Be like Cruella de Vil obviously is a tier villain. She's an A tier villain beyond belief.
She's right up there with Ursula and
exactly
Wicked Witch and Maleficent, and I'd put Mother Gothel up there.
Yeah, Mother Gothel. Yeah, definitely.
Scar,
of course. Jafar,
yeah. You can't really put Gaston up there because he was a villain, but he really wasn't a villain.
Yeah, and so like ranking this idea that like Medusa from the Rescuers, she's a B villain. Be like
she's more of a C villain, but yeah, I get what you're meaning.
I would agree that like her plan is very dastardly. She quote unquote adopts the child, but uses her for her own deeds to gain wealth.
Yeah,
by very dastardly deeds.
But she's also like one-dimensional.
Yeah, agreed. Edgar is like is D beyond belief.
Edgar's got some things there, but I mean, even that's why I would call him B. He's just not well utilized.
Yeah,
as a villain. Like I said, this is not a problem of like source material or anything like that, because this really does feel like this character was invented for the movie.
He was,
but they didn't do anything villainous with him other than he took the cats out to the middle of nowhere and dropped them off.
Yeah,
that's all he did.
Yeah, exactly.
He did nothing to. It's not like some of these other characters where that's relentless. The villain pursuing the heroes. Cruella is like that. Yeah, but I mean, Edgar isn't. He's there. He's like he does his thing. He's a very utilitarian villain.
Yeah.
They did not write his character to make him interesting and exciting. They didn't make you hate him.
Yeah.
Literally. Other than he did the opposite of saving the cat.
Yeah. And like you said, when he gets locked in his own trunk, which I'm going to get to my number 3 later, it's just
more ironic.
Yeah. It's like, oh, you locked in the box. Yay, bye.
It's not like seeing Gaston falling off the castle. It's not like seeing Ursula get turned into one of the little sea cucumber things.
Yeah.
It's not like seeing Mother Gothel falling to her death.
Yeah. It's not the satisfying.
It doesn't give you that satisfying. This villain has gotten their comeuppance.
Yeah.
Edgar's gotten his comeuppance, but I don't think I almost feel like this was actually worse than what he did.
Yeah.
He's actually been punished more than what he deserved.
Yeah.
Unlike all the others.
Agreed.
I don't think he was enough of a villain to get what he got.
Agreed. All right, so I believe
that gets us down to our last ones.
Yes. So, going on to our last third of dislikes. Mine will go with color and animation errors. And
it's a lot of the animation errors, the same things we've talked about from other films of this era.
Agreed.
Because they use the sketchy art style.
Yeah,
that's the thing. You want to talk about eras of Disney? This is the sketchy animation era.
It is.
Because they leave the sketch marks in the final film.
Which be like in a part, I've said this before, I'll be like, I really enjoy that in some ways. Because you see the animation's process, but when they went to it's not oh crap! They literally, I want to say FedEx, but they photocopied. Yeah. They photocopied the image to put ink on it, and so you get all these grains and Xerox. Thank you. That's the word I'm looking for. Xerox.
This was before Xerox.
Yeah, but be like you have animation errors where be like there's literally scenes where Scat Cat he's talking with one of the characters during the song, and you literally see a frame skip.
Yeah,
and you see that multiple times throughout this room, just frame skips.
Well, this is the first
and color distortion.
Like we said earlier, this is the first film to be made after Walt Disney's death.
Yeah,
and I think this is where you start seeing the overall quality of Disney films.
Yeah, it starts dropping.
Take that plunge, and it just happens here because they didn't do that last go through to see. Oh, we missed this. We need to fix that.
Yeah,
or edit around it.
Yeah, there's also there's a lot of and be like. There's color errors, like the basket changes colors multiple times. There's doors that change colors. I think the motorcycle changes colors throughout the film, and like one of the big ones when the trunk scene where Edgar is locked in the trunk.
Yeah,
is is it the mouse who pops the lock? I can't remember.
This is the one that locks it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, be like you see like this is like I saw as a huge animation error where be like the cats are sprung from the box and you quite literally see the lock come unlocked and fall off the box.
Yeah.
So when Edgar gets pushed into said box, be like you see it go into full frame and there's a lock on it. Like who locked it?
That's what we call a continuity
error.
It's
severe continuity error. I'm like, okay.
I'm sorry.
I just said something.
You tongue-tied.
I did tongue-tie. Thank you very much. I'm here all night, people.
I'm sorry. I shouldn't have laughed at that.
No, it's all good.
It was just... You know what I mean.
Yes,
I'm not mocking you.
I understand. Like you just found it funny. I tongue-tied myself.
That's like, that's not what I said, but sure.
Exactly. But It's just like when I saw that continuity
Continuity
error. Thank you. I
It-
can't
it-
talk tonight.
Well, it's also a big word, and big words are hard
Well,
to say sometimes.
it's not really a
Words
big
are
word.
hard.
Yeah, words are hard, but continuity error is not a very large word.
No, but ironically, I think it is French, which is like most of the problems with the film.
That is
It's like
true.
because everything with this film is French,
And-
except half the actors.
That's true. And plus, the French would give up without a fight during World War II. But that's neither here or there.
No, because this is pre-World War One.
Yes, pre World War One. And thanks, France. Yeah, either or.
Moving
either or.
on.
Moving on. My
That-
history nerds bleeding through, so let's move forward. But yeah, it's just like when that continuity error occurs, I'm like, what in the like? Like Edgar should be able to pop out of the thing, not get locked in. Did
I
the
agree.
mouse come back and lock it?
It's what I think you're supposed to be. That's supposed to be implied. But here's the other thing: that chest
Yeah.
that he's in. Now, granted, they made stuff stronger back then.
Yeah.
But what was it designed to hold?
Close.
Right. You know what clothes aren't?
Heavy.
200-pound men
Exactly.
that have been crammed into a spot the size of a bread bin. I don't care if he somehow did fit into it like they show in this.
Yeah.
He should have just been able to very quickly moved back and forth enough that he could have got that thing broke enough he could get out of it before the movers came and grab it and act like, oh, this isn't heavy at all.
They literally just
It's like, that's a 200-pound man. As soon as he fell into the back of that moving van, the chest should have broke open because he's a human, for crying out loud. We're a little squishy. We're a little gooshy.
Gushy?
Gooshy, yes.
That's a word.
Gooshy is a word. When that thing would have hit, he should have sprung enough that the pressure of his body should have caused the chest to break open, even if it was locked.
Yes.
It's believable that the cats would be locked in there if
Yeah.
they got in there. It ain't believable for Edgar.
Yeah.
Now, I know what everyone's thinking. True. This is a movie about talking cats.
True.
Really, how heavy should you be thinking about this? And I will say this from a continuity perspective, from a world building perspective, from a lore perspective. The only thing about this movie that's not realistic is that the animals talk to each other.
Yeah.
Physics exists in this freaking movie except for this moment.
Because you make the point across that Edgar's now going
It's-
to Timbuktu, and like even the guys who pick it up should notice, be like, this is a lot heavier than it should be.
Yes.
And why is it rocking back and forth and there's a
And
person yelling?
Why do I hear a voice in here? It's not like Edgar got knocked out.
Yeah. He literally just got tumbled into it.
Yes.
The case rolled and now it's locked.
I get that. Oh, this is just supposed to be funny. Move on.
Yeah.
Logistics, people. Logistics. You know, this is what gets me.
Well, I can
Logistics.
I can see the point where like maybe like they weren't like checking everything, because there again, Walt Disney only died like a couple of years prior to this.
And admittedly, you get to this point, you need a quick ending.
Yeah.
I get that.
I agree, and that's probably it.
That's probably all it was, but it's just like, okay, moving on.
Yeah, moving on.
The movie's over.
Yeah.
We get to see everybody wants to be a cat again.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And somehow the dogs from 20 miles away
Can
hear the
it.
song. No, that was just the funny joke.
Yes, it is
Moving
a funny
on.
joke. Moving on. So yeah, that's my number 3.
Now, I'm going to sit here on my dislike. I have to put a small disclaimer on it. I have not been in love.
Okay.
I have not had a girlfriend.
Okay.
I do not know how fast romance actually can occur.
Mm.
All I have to go off of are stories, or romance stories,
Mhm.
where I automatically automatically take with a grain of salt, because they are a little fantastical in nature by their very nature of what they
Yes.
are.
Mhm.
But man, is this the fastest love story with no sign of romance between the two main characters?
That is so
There is
true.
nothing
Well,
I
there-
saw.
there's a
between
little bit.
there is stuff. It takes a while to get to it.
Yeah.
And it mostly is just like, it happens.
Yeah.
Now, granted, Duchess is worried about her kittens. She's
Yeah.
taking care of her kids. She's being a good mother.
Yeah.
And yeah, O'Malley's really fits into the father role pretty quickly and pretty
Yeah.
easily.
Agreed.
Almost like he's the cat for the job.
Yeah.
Granted. But until the scene where O'Malley asks her to go with him
Yeah.
and at the top of his pad, I saw nothing in that relationship that made it think more like I'm a nice guy who's he's attracted to Duchess at the beginning, but the cats kittens are there. It's like, oh yeah, this is I have a different tactic. But at the same time, it's just like I don't see longing looks. I don't see any of the normal things.
Okay.
Even if that's not how these relationships are always going to go,
Mm-hmm.
I get that, different relationships happen differently.
Exactly.
You still need to, if in it, you have an hour and a half movie. I think the movie is an hour and a half.
Yeah, it's roughly an hour and a half.
You've got to, and they don't get thrown out to the wilderness until about half hour into the movie.
Yeah.
You have an hour
mm-hmm.
in which these two characters, Duchess and O'Malley,
mm-hmm.
need to fall in love.
Yeah.
And there is nothing, even in their introduction, that outside of O'Malley is obviously in love with her, but it's
and Duchess is kind of being flirty.
It's more flirty.
Yeah,
they're both flirting at the very beginning.
Yeah,
but there's not a point I felt in the whole thing until they're on his pad where it's like, oh yes, I really like you. I wouldn't mind spending all my time with you. I'm tempted to stay here, but I've got to go back to Madame.
Mm-hmm.
Blah 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
That's like, I'm not seeing how these two characters are in love because nothing really told me that it was anything more than casual flirtation.
Yeah.
That anyone would be doing at this time.
That is true. Be like, you take the examples of Anna and Kristoff from
I'm
Frozen.
looking at Robin Hood and Maid Marian.
That is
2
so
years
true.
after this. Or Mowgli and the native girl at the end of Jungle Book.
Oh my gosh.
Boy, that hits you right there that he's infatuated.
Oh yeah.
There is nothing of that other than and she's infatuated with him too.
Yeah, that is true.
All we get in this is O'Malley is flirting, and Duchess kind of is flirting back, but for the most part, she's just being Duchess.
Yeah,
she's not really acting
there's
differently
really no
than she
built. There's no built-in.
The only when Duchess talks to anyone but her kittens, she acts the same way. It's the same way she acts like to O'Malley.
Yeah.
Now she's more loving to her kittens because they're her kittens. I get that
exactly.
But there's nothing that gives me the idea of romantic love between the two, much less anything deeper than even flirtatious.
Agreed. I totally see your point. I do.
Yeah, it feels like we know that we want these characters to get together, and we want him to join the family. So for that, he needs to fall in love. Where we're going to work that into the story? Well, the only slow part of the film, or slow enough in terms of plot for us to put this in, is right after everybody wants to be a cat because that's our nighttime scene.
That is true. What they be, I'm not trying to say like they did a bad job with this film. They didn't.
It's a very good film.
But
this is one of the things I feel they tripped on.
Yeah, I would if they would have put in like a moment where it would have been O'Malley and Duchess like having this romantic scene together, and there's like a romantic song playing in the background that would emphasize this even more. It would have been more believable.
I don't even need that much. I need a couple of looks every now and then.
Yeah.
That's all I want.
Yeah.
Granted, they just met, so you don't get the Robin Hood Maid Marian thing,
right?
Where it's by legend, they're in love with each other. They've always been in love with each other. You don't get that, obviously,
right?
But you get nothing. You don't get good. I need bedroom eyes.
True.
For lack of a better term, I need them to give bedroom eyes at some point before they're on top of that. They're on top of his pad.
Yeah, because it's not.
Give me something that's like. Especially as many times as he saved Marie.
Yeah.
There should be some point where she is nice to him in a way that gives the idea that maybe she's falling for him.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't ever do that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd be like, I read something or heard something earlier today where, like, I think it was in the original script, or it's implied that Marie has the goo goo eyes or the puppy dog love for O'Malley, which that would be like if you've been around teenage Duchess, not Duchess.
Murray's the kitten.
Yeah, Marie's the kitten. Marie.
That's even worse.
Yeah, well, be like, have you been around young girls? And be like, young girls who are like, and older guys is like, ooh, he's he's interesting. But they don't imply that. Well, they kind of imply it away, but it's just like, nah, either or. I thought I would bring that up because I was like, that's interesting.
Just saying Lady and the Tramp did a romance better than this, but
exactly.
Then Lady and the Tramp was an actual love story. I think when you get right down to it, this is the problem I really have with this film as a general dislike, which is not the dislike. Well, this is the dislike we're talking about.
Yes.
But I can't tell what type of film this is supposed to be other than a kids cartoon.
Yeah.
It's not an adventure. Even though they go on an adventure, it really isn't an adventure. It's not a love story, even though characters fall in love.
Yeah.
It's not really a comedy, even though they're comedic moments.
Yeah.
It's obviously not tragedy because the tragic thing in here is the thing that starts the adventure of them going back to Madame. What kind of movie is this supposed to be? Granted, the film is a good movie.
Yeah, agreed.
Do not get me wrong. I enjoyed the film. But looking at it critically, it feels like they didn't know what the movie was supposed to be.
Possibly.
Because you look at Jungle Book before this, obviously a adventure story.
Yes.
It's written like an adventure story. It's played like an adventure story. You look at, I hate keep going to these same three films, but they're like right here next to each other.
They are.
It's the same creative team. And like I said, this is the one that does it the worst. Robin Hood does this is obviously an adventure story. It's got enough. It's also a love story because you have to get that stuff in there because of the legend. It does all of this stuff in there. It knows what the film is. What is the Aristocats? You say the Aristocats to anybody. What is the only thing they will ever say?
Everybody wants to be a cat.
Exactly.
It's that's
one
not
song. Bad. That is not bad. But there's a reason that's the only memorable thing about this film.
Yeah.
To anybody who only watched it once or twice. Granted, if you had the VHS and you wore it out because you liked cats as a child, different story.
Yeah.
You would have more nostalgia for this. I only saw this film. This is the first time I've seen the film outside of the couple of scenes I saw in that sing-along songs VHS. I did not know what this film was going into it, other than I kind of knew the cats are rich, the old woman is putting them in their will over the
butler.
The butler. That's an interesting premise, and you could have done a lot with that to get them on an adventure, but you didn't go anywhere with it. Honestly, a lot of that stuff in the beginning, in that first half hour, them showing that Berlioz could play, Toulouse could do art, and Marie could sing. I have some other logistical issues with that, but I don't really care.
Okay.
That's all unnecessary information. That song, Arpeggios and Scales, or Scales and Arpeggios, I don't remember the name of it, does nothing for the story. It's a moment. It tells you how rich and pampered these pets are.
Yeah.
At the same time, we also know that these cats cannot be understood by humans. What is Madame and Edgar hearing while they're practicing? A cat jumping up and down on the piano, another cat wallowing, and why is this other cat always got paint on him?
I would say this in defense of that, because I believe.
I mean, if you go more cartoony with it, it's fine. It makes sense. But like we said earlier, with Edgar getting locked in the trunk, there's some serious physics that are supposed to be in this film.
Yeah.
Because that's what they show. Because everyone acts like they normally would.
Yeah.
When between the humans and the animals and vice versa.
Right.
Why is it in just these couple moments where it's like, oh yeah, it's a cartoon. We're going to be doing cartoon things.
Yeah, agreed. I want to go to the film's defense on this.
That's fine.
Because when you have
I am getting very nitpicky.
Oh yeah, completely agree. Completely agree. The scene where the Duchess is not Duchess, the cat. Marie, thank you. Marie.
The kitten?
No, the mama cat.
Duchess.
Thank you. let's get all this cleared.
I understand you confusing the white cats.
Yes, they are white cats.
They're both white cats.
One's little, one's a cat. So Duchess is teaching her children, do this whole cute little scene between the four of them.
Right,
and
it's cute.
It's cute, but also it kind of pays off in a way towards the end when you get into everybody wants to be a cat. It's like, oh, I didn't know you guys could sing. I didn't know you could play music. So they kind of set that up.
It works.
It does work.
But at the same time, you could still have all that happen without that at the beginning.
You could.
Because it's, especially if this is the era of the Disney musical where they have a grand total of 4 songs and only one of them is worth hearing again.
True.
It's not like, because, admittedly, we grew up in the Renaissance of Lion King, Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, Pocahontas, where you have 7 really good songs.
Yeah.
To the point where the fact that there are bad songs doesn't even cross your mind. But this is the era where we have one good song that anyone's going to remember.
Yeah.
And there are 3 other songs that just aren't as catchy.
You just
which
don't
is
remember
not
them.
the Sherman Brothers' fault. Don't
No.
get me wrong. Even though they wrote a lot of these, it's just you can only do so much on the factory line
Agreed.
that these films did seem to be made on. Anyway, we need to move on unless you got something else to add.
I just feel like
we're going along.
We are going along, but it's always good when we can dissect a film and just go deep into it and understand there's a lot of people who really, really enjoy this film.
Right, but we've always been like this.
Mm-hmm.
If there's we're not fair to films.
No, we're not.
We will talk about what bugs us, and admittedly, I want to be perfectly clear. Almost every single dislike I have talked about, with the exception of Edgar.
Yeah.
I wasn't thinking about when I watched the film. I thought about it afterwards. When it's like, okay, I need to come up with dislikes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just these logical inconsistencies that pop up in my head. It's like, well, this is not much of a love story. It's not much of an adventure story. It's not much of a comedy. It's not really a drama.
Mm-hmm.
What is it?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, and I don't think the writers knew.
Mm.
And that's a problem.
All right. So how are we going to rate this? You go first.
Believe it or not, after everything I just said, 7.5.
7.5. Okay.
It's a good film. It's enjoyable. I'm knocking it a little bit because, like I said, it's kind of a dull story because it doesn't know what it is. And Edgar is just disappointing as a villain. If you get a better villain in there, easy 8. But the villain really does what hurts it,
agreed.
I think, in this one.
Agreed.
It's a 7.5. It's a fun movie. If you got kids and you like cats, definite buy. Give it a watch. It's a good classic Disney film. It's just a middling Disney film.
Agreed.
Bear in mind, this is Disney. There are very few bad Disney films.
Agreed.
Very few. It's not a level of quality of Pixar.
True.
But Disney films do tend to be at least halfway decent until the 2000s, where there's definitely some questionable things.
True. All right. So I will give this movie also a 7.5. It's done very well. There's a lot of problems when it comes to, there's some pacing issues. There's more, I'm not going to say it doesn't know what it wants to be because it's using different elements and it's not queuing in on one like you would go with 101 Dalmatians is obviously an adventure film.
Yes.
Where this movie doesn't really know what it is. So it's not really...
It wants to be 101 Dalmatians,
yes,
but it wanted to be a calmer film than 101 Dalmatians.
Exactly.
Was.
Exactly.
Mostly because 101 Dalmatians was probably, budgeting-wise, an animation nightmare.
Mm-hmm. All the spots.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a great film.
Well, that was one of the other trivia things I remember reading. The director of this film originally wanted O'Malley to be a striped tabby cat.
Mm-hmm.
Until he had to animate Shere Khan. Or had to do that for Jungle Book and found out how hard striped animals are to animate.
I can imagine.
So he made him a straight orange cat.
That makes sense.
To alleviate the pressure.
Just an orange tabby.
He's not a tabby because he doesn't have stripes. He's just an orange cat.
Okay, that's what tabby means. Stripe.
Well, it's not exactly, but most tabby cats are striped.
Oh, okay. So either or. It's a great film. It's got problems. I would recommend it. Yes, it's very much a product of its time. But it's overall, it's an enjoyable film. It has its problems. Like, we just nitpick this movie to death, which is always fun.
Yeah. I hope you people appreciate it and don't just hate us for
Yeah.
tearing a movie apart. That's
It's like, oh my
from your
gosh,
childhood.
I can't believe you just, tore apart
Because
my favorite film.
I've listened to plenty of podcasts where they reviewed a movie from my childhood and they tore it apart, and I'm going, you're missing the point, which is why I try to point out, it's like, I know this isn't the point. It's
Yes.
just what I focused on.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, be like, it's enjoyable. It's got problems, but it's still a very enjoyable film.
Yeah.
It's not like we didn't just dumpster fire it and put it in the 3s.
Yes, but what did you rate it? I didn't hear a number.
7.3, 7.5.
7.5. We are in agreement at 7.5.
Yes.
Which brings us to the end of this film, which means I need to ask a trivia question about the next one. Our next film is going to be Rise of the Guardians from 2012. In that film, the Easter Bunny mentions that Jack Frost caused a blizzard on Easter Sunday of what year that is actually a reference to an actual event.
Oh, it's been a while since I've watched this film. I don't remember.
That's the trivia question for next week.
And the masters of the universe.
Thundercats are on the move. Thundercats are loose. DuckTales, woo!
Let's get dangerous.
Building a rocket or fighting a mummy or climbing up the Eiffel Tower.
The Pinky and the brain.
So today we are reviewing Tangled. Tangled the series is not the name of the show anymore.
Oh, it's one of the titles.
It is one of the titles. Rapunzel's Tangled Adventure,
Season
2, Episode 9 and Episode 10. But Episode 9 is called King Pascal.
Mm-hmm.
It was directed by Tom Caulfield and written by Kelly Hannon. Synopsis is, the group gets stranded on an island after a storm. The tiny islanders, the Lorbs, mistake Pascal for their mystical ruler. The chameleon loves the adulation until he is expected to protect his people from a vicious monster. The guest cast for this includes, I did this weird. No, I didn't. I'm sorry. Flula Borg played Alphonse.
Okay.
Russie Taylor was Florina, and Richard Stephen Horvitz was Jorn. Trivia for this. Rapunzel, Eugene, and Cassandra wear new outfits in this episode. In addition, Eugene and Cassandra go barefoot as well.
Okay.
Rapunzel's birthday lanterns are revealed to have floated onto the island following their annual release.
That's a lot of lanyards.
It is. And the Lorbs speak with a German-sounding accent. Flula Borg, who voices Alphonse, was actually born in Erlangen, Germany.
Really?
Yeah. So, Jacob, what are your thoughts on this episode?
Oh, this is an arc where they get stuck in a place again.
And we don't even get any clue this is where we were going until you turn this episode on and, oh, Adventures on the High Seas. That's a different episode.
Yes.
But
it's one of these character-driven stories. It's all about Pascal. And be like, who's not to love about Pascal? Pascal's an amazing little character. Even though he doesn't talk, but he's very much a vital part of this team or vital part of this adventure, where Pascal is he is being left out. He's being forgotten because he's so small. Kind of like if you're like a small child or you're not the strongest one of the bunch. And so everyone kind of just be like, just make sure you're okay. When they obviously do care about Pascal, Pascal feels he's just being left out because he's not big and strong or tall like everybody else is.
right.
So I love it where what do you call these creatures again?
the Lorbs.
Yeah, the Lorbs. Yeah, the Lorbs are
the Leafmen.
Yeah, it's just be like it's Pascal. He gets a little bit of a bigger head or bigger scales, you might call it. When he gets all this adoration from the Lorbs, and they're like, "Oh, you are a
hero."
Yeah, hero. And be like,
he's a bad German accent.
Very bad at German accent. That's more like this. But either way.
Well, I was going for the stereotypical. This doesn't even sound like that anymore.
That's more like Scottish. No offense to our Scottish and German friends out there.
You laugh. This is how my Ozzy Osbourne turned into Liverpool.
Yeah, I remember that. I just enjoy the episode. I feel like it's got the typical point where the guys are trying to one up one another, and it's just hijinks ensues, and the girls will just be like they do everything to get going, and it's a fun episode. It's where the lores think they'd be like, oh, they've got the fluffen. How did they pronounce the?
Don't get me lying. We already know how my German accent goes in this. The Flurgen.
Yeah,
Flurgen. I don't know what to say.
Flurgen.
Now I'm starting to sound like the Swedish chef from the Muppets.
Yeah, it's
wrong show.
Yeah, wrong show. We'll eventually get back to another Muppet show.
Muppets is coming up pretty quick, actually.
Yeah. So, I thoroughly enjoyed this show. It's got the usual hijinks. It's got the usual character needs to learn something about themselves, and it's just a good episode. It'd be like, I don't think Shorty plays like one minor scene where that's not even that episode. That's the next episode.
Yeah, Shorty's like. He's in here, but he's in the background. Doesn't do anything.
He doesn't do anything. That's the next episode where he's.
No, we're the funniest part of this is seeing the ants carrying the guys' first shelter away.
Yeah, that was hilarious. And then, Shorty does one thing. Be like, he cuts down the tree and knocks out the second.
Yeah, that's what he does.
Yeah, that's the one thing he does throughout this entire episode. Yeah, it's a good episode. I really enjoy. I enjoy it. It's one of those, okay, we're on a side quest in a way, and then it's just I really enjoy it. That's all I got to say on this.
Okay. This was a fun episode, I thought. I liked the idea behind it, how, Pascal we've seen this like in thousands of different things before, where someone happens to look like something that was drawn on a wall years ago, so now the locals think that they're the ruler, and so we've seen that. I've seen that before, at least on 100 different things. And I like how they're even saying, "Oh yeah, we can't tell them what he's actually expected to do, otherwise he won't do it."
Mm-hmm.
Which was fun. It was like, I still don't entirely get how they defeated the. I keep wanting to say the fire ant, but it wasn't a fire ant. It was something.
It's like a dragonfly, or so it was a firefly.
Firefly. That's what they call it. It was a firefly. I still don't know how the weeds cooled off the firefly.
Yeah.
But I thought that was at least a nice little pun for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was enjoyable. I had a good time with it, and yeah, it was a fun episode.
It's a fun episode,
and it was nice to see, Pascal gets some more characterization, even though he didn't grow as much as a character like he did in that first season episode that he was in, which I can't remember the name of. Pascal's story.
Yeah, Pascal's story. That was a good episode.
Yeah. But, I enjoyed it. And let's go ahead and move on to the next one.
Yeah.
Episode 10, There's Something About Hookfoot. Directed by Steven Sandoval and written by Jeremy Shipp. Synopsis is, the group have recently begun to notice a change in Hookfoot's behavior and discover he has developed romantic feelings for a mermaid named Seraphina, but is nervous about his upcoming first date with her. Rapunzel and Eugene attempt to help Hookfoot by offering him advice, but realize they have a difference in opinion on how Hookfoot should behave. Eventually, Hookfoot and Seraphina's first date arrives, and despite a rocky upstart, Hookfoot and Seraphina grow closer and fall in love. However, water goblins suddenly appear from the ocean and are after Seraphina, who is revealed to be a thief after stealing a priceless delicate pearl. Seraphina and Hookfoot attempt to run away together, but in the end, Seraphina willingly surrenders herself to save Hookfoot and his friends. Guest cast, we've got Katie Mixon playing Seraphina and D. Bradley Baker as the water goblins.
Huh.
Trivia for this, the title is a reference to the 1998 comedy film There's Something About Mary. Rapunzel does the narration in this episode. One of the few times we actually just get narration.
True.
The episode noticeably begins in media res, or in the middle of things, before starting over from the beginning. And Eugene makes a reference to him being a vault in regards to keeping secrets.
Which he's terrible at.
Not a vault. He's a very leaky vault.
Yeah.
But he mentioned that originally in the episode What the Hair.
Yeah. The first episode.
Yes. So, what are your thoughts on this one?
Oh my gosh. We don't get a whole lot of Hookfoot centered stories.
Unfortunately, no. And spoiler alert to Little Leary, he doesn't get past the season.
No, he doesn't.
At least from what I know.
Right. I know he does make appearances in the next season.
Right, but I mean he leaves the group about 2/3 the way through this season.
Yeah. I really enjoy it. There again, we do get more Hookfoot, and like he gets a girlfriend or a mermaid girlfriend, and like he falls for another thief, and it's like that kind of makes sense, and it's weird because the dynamic in this episode is so odd because you have once you realize that our lady friend what's her name again?
Seraphina.
There again, I am terrible with names. Seraphina.
Well, admittedly, you don't have it in the notes in front of you.
No, I don't. When all of our characters learn that Seraphina is actually the thief, she's the one who stole it. But they're still coming to her defense. It's not be like, oh, you're the one who did this, but it's more they're more out of Hookfoot's his love for Seraphina.
Yeah.
And that's just be like, okay, it's more the Hollywood idea that you fall in love with someone like the first day you meet.
It's that love at first sight thing.
Yeah.
I think to some degree that can happen.
It can.
It's just not as sort I'm looking for. It's not as frequent as Hollywood makes it out to be.
Yeah, agreed. The back and forth between Eugene and Rapunzel. I want to call Cassandra, but no, it's Rapunzel. For
once, it was Eugene and Rapunzel who were at odds with each other.
not Cassandra and Eugene.
Yes.
But it's just like they're different advice when it comes to be yourself, or be a gentleman, that kind of stuff. That contrast of different ideas, and to me, it'd be like there's a lot of where you have this free spirit in Rapunzel, and it's just be like, oh, just be yourself and just let loose and just and that's true. Be like, yeah, just be yourself to an extent.
Yeah.
Don't be the don't be a slob. don't be a slob to your date. But I mean, like it's this funny contrast where these two are trying to give good advice, but at the same time they're contrasting each other the entire time.
Yeah,
it's just hysterical. Which I agree in a certain part of Rapunzel's things, like be yourself, which is always very appropriate to be yourself. Don't fake it. Just be yourself. And I think Hookfoot throughout the date, in between the constant banter between Rapunzel and Eugene, it's just be yourself and just try to be open about things and not try to conform to what everyone thinks you should be. And I think this is what women in general like about guys, is just like, you got to be yourself and not this facade of what you're supposed to be as a guy. And I think it's what if you're in a relationship with a woman, it's just be yourself, and they find that more attractive than anything else.
Right.
Yeah, I find it's funny that our main lady friend is the antagonist of the show, but not really.
She isn't the antagonist, I would say, because technically the water goblins are the antagonists. But the thing is, they're in the right.
Yeah, they are in the right
to come after her because she did steal that pearl from them. The difference is, I think, at least she really did fall in love with Hookfoot.
Yeah,
we know that from the story,
right?
So I think maybe she had kind of turned a leaf, but was kind of stuck, and still needed to pay the consequences of her actions.
Agreed.
But the thing that gets me most is at the very end. Now, earlier there's a part where Hookfoot picks up a mermaid's tear on the shore.
Yeah,
and she kind of berates him for thinking that'd be a good gift to give to her. It's like, it's a mermaid's tear. It comes from mermaids when they cry.
Right.
And he goes, oh, okay, never mind. But then you get to the end of the episode, and Hookfoot's feeling, distraught. But with every crash of the wave on the shoreline, you see tons and tons of mermaid's tears.
Yeah.
And they're all from Serafina because she wants to be with the person she loves.
Yeah.
But she can't.
Yeah.
Because
agreed.
she's got to pay for her crimes.
Absolutely. One of the downbeats of this episode is the general, not general advice that Rapunzel's giving, but it's this general idea that just follow your heart. Be because your heart.
Well, this is kind of a normal world thing, because they don't realize that the heart is a creator of idols and will lead you astray faster than anything else.
Oh, agreed. I completely agree.
This is a normal thing in the Western world.
Agreed. Otherwise, in some parts of the world, your stomach.
Well, the heart is the seat of the emotions here in the West.
True.
Some other places, it's the kidneys. Some other places, it's the lungs. Do you know what it was in the Bible?
I think it's your stomach.
The bowels.
The bowels. That's right. That's your.
And to quote a comedian, because I kind of am stealing all this from a comedian that I'm thinking of right now. I think it was Mark Lowry. He says, that'd ruin a couple of love songs, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah. Ugh.
Don't break my bowels, my achy breaky bowels.
Yeah, I agree. It's very much this Western idea that be just follow your heart. Be because your heart's going to tell you the right thing. And
no, it won't.
No, it won't. It'll lead you down the wrong
path. It'll lead you astray. Now, that being said, the heart, can't you got to be careful with it. But because it is strong. That's why you're supposed to be, you're supposed to train your heart and your mind to work in tandem.
Yeah.
Because both by themselves will be pretty bad.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah. So I just thought I would bring that up. It's very much a modern Western worldly thing. But overall, it was an enjoyable episode. Yeah, I'm looking forward to digging into more of this season.
All right. Well, then join us next time where we'll do the next 2 episodes of Rapunzel's Tangled Adventure, along with reviewing Legends of the Guardians, and we'll see you then. But in the meantime, this has been Drew.
This is Jacob.
And we'll catch you in the next frame.
Boom.
You can follow Jacob on his Facebook at Jacob B. Heron. His Facebook page, Jacob's Daily Art Corner, where he tries to draw each and every day. His Instagram at Jacob B. Heron. His Twitter at Jacob Heron.
And his Letterboxd at Jacob Heron. You can find Drew on Facebook at Drew Dodgen.
His Facebook page, Drew's Photo Bin, to see his photography. His Letterboxd page at GGeorge759. His Twitter at GGeorge759. And Instagram at Drew Dodgen. You can like us on Facebook at the Cellcast Podcast, on Twitch at the Cellcast Gaming,
on YouTube at Cellcast,
on Twitter at cast_cell. The Cellcast can be found at Apple Podcasts, Google Play Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, or anywhere else fine podcasts are downloaded from. Please rate and review us where you found us, and also on Podchaser. Email us at thecellcastpodcast@gmail.com. The Cellcast is a proud member of both the Pop Americana and Culture Box media networks. For more information, please see the link in the description. Our theme song is Drop and Roll by Silent Partner. And remember, that's Cell, with a single L.
I'm the leader, and I say this show is over when I say it's over.
Okay.
It's over.
Okay.